So this is my attempt at recording the transformation video for Captain Caddy. It does have a bit of top heavy because of the shoulders. So, but it's not impossible to balance him. As you can see, is striking a decent A pose. So whether he's standing, leaning against the wall, or it takes a moment, but you will find a good position to display this guy. And I'm gonna try and plonk this somewhere that is stable so that I can show you the transformation of the various parts. We're gonna start with the head, and then we're gonna do the main body, and then we're gonna do the weapon, and hopefully everything will store away in box mode so that you don't see anything left. And then for the base mode, we might have to reveal some of the parts that are just lying around, but it's not gonna be terrible. But let's start from transforming the head and me attaching the camera to the tripod. First thing to mention, the headmaster just sits inside the shoulder piece, and this allows to have the head connected there. Mine didn't manage to go all the way through the first time that I transformed it. It's supposed to go all the way through. There is plenty of space, it's open. And the head itself, oh, that is going off. The head itself has this piece here that allows it to turn the head in both the Captain Carry and carry mode. So that it's also important to know, and that's why you need to make sure that when you glue the face, that piece is gonna turn. So here we have the head separate from the main body, and this is the headmaster. As you can see, this just fits with the head and the notches inside the turning point. And to go into the main body, I prefer to have it like that because the head sits a bit more on the shoulders. But if you prefer it the other way around, it should fit no problem into carry as well. We're starting from the head mode because that's what we had, and I'm gonna go back to the head mode because I think it's quite tricky in a way. So I want to make sure that we have it showcased as much as possible. But the easy part here is taking the master off. If this comes off, then you just need to put it back into its place. The master itself is very simple. It's like all my other micromasters. The legs are gonna be backwards, so you can just undo it and put it back together the way it's supposed to be. And the legs do also peg together, so you can sit right down, and that's the micromaster done. Little carry. If you want to, you can flip this a little bit and just hide the face if you want to. I don't like that. So, oops. Yeah, ball joints, so be careful about popping them off and breaking them. But, they serve their purpose for the most part. And that's little carry, all done. Nothing else to say about it. But we will see him when we turn him into the vehicle modes. So the arms just pop off. They're just pegged. This, more or less loose depending on how well you squeeze this in. This is gonna peg on the side of the face. Same for the other side. Just take them off. And the legs want to come off already. Part of it is because I got the light box in, so it's taking that space away. If you don't have or want the light box, then I will show you, you can transform this slightly differently. And maybe I can take this out of the way. So these are the hips, and then this should just slide out Come on. Don't be shy. We can get something a bit more solid to move it out. I don't want to break it. Come on. There we go. So that's the light box out of the face. And then we got the face, main body, whatever you want to call it. So for all intents and purposes, this can flip. You can, open this in robot mode, pretend that, it does the headmaster gimmick. You want to slide this on the face all the way. And now let's go into robot mode first. So to go into robot mode, we start from the legs. So we want to turn this so that hips have peggle at the top. That's gonna be the waist. We're gonna need these legs. They're almost ready to go. Remove this from the back so they are loose. This panel goes 90 degree and then all the way back. That is ready there where it needs to be. We flip the foot out as best as you can. There we go. Ankle back in, angle it, standing. Second, same as the first. Flip the panel back. That is just gonna sit there. Make sure the filament is not popping out on you. Flip out the ankle. Flip out the foot. It's always a bit of a pest. Ankle back in. And now we can peg the legs into place. And that's the lower body done. Where the probably need to add a little bit of something to make them not so loose. Upper body, easy peasy. Just peg into place. Well, you got this already transformed from head mode, and you got these 5mm pegs that peg into place if they're not fighting me today. Come on, foot. Come on, foot. These feet are annoying sometimes. They just like to slide in and fall apart. There we go. I might need to zoom out now because it's getting taller. And we're gonna move to the upper body. Good that the screen decided to go on its own. So this is gonna go at the back. No, I'm gonna curse because this is gonna go, well, this is gonna go at the back. We can get the headmaster into head mode again. Like this. Legs pegging together. Like that. So heads on. Then for the arms, we got, let me move this a little bit back. See, I really need to add some glue to these hips to make them a bit firmer. I think they like to come out a bit too much on my copy. I must have sanded down some pegs too much. Come on. Don't fight me. You go ankle tilts. And this arm decided to just faint. You're looking ridiculous now. Oh, I know why. The heel is not in the right place. There we go. So for the arm, we need to pop this out. And you want to avoid breaking anything. And as you notice, the arms are actually inverted for transformation, which means this first is facing backward. So now it's all straight. You can see that this is supposed to be the front, but the shoulder peg is out, so we turn it. Then we take this one that has the extra notch for the elbow transformation, well, elbow to bend, really. So squeeze them in as best as you can. And then we have the first arm done. And the wings, you can decide whether you want them out or you want them in. Like, I prefer to push them out. So we go first arm done, second arm is the same. It's a bit stiffer. But if you don't have nails, use a tool or something that is not gonna scratch the plastic. But eventually this will open. Some TLC. It's coming. And then the first. Now we can maybe help ourselves with a tool. It is really in there. Just to show that sometimes tolerances are extremely tight and sometimes they're extremely loose, like on the hips. It's just a matter of sanding things down and make them, you know, as snug as they can be without falling off. And sometimes you go the other way too far and you end up with this. I'll do this off camera. And voila, there was actually some support debris that was not removed, so that's why it was a pain. So like the other one, we straighten the arm out. We need to turn the shoulder so that the peg is inside. We then take the one with the notch and we apply it at the front of the forearm like this. And that goes at the back, and voila. Now, to be able to hold the gun, you might have to tilt the first a little bit, but you know, it works. So, oh, there we go. We have carry in rubber mode. Let me get the weapons out so that we can show. Then you can hold them. Oh, yeah. Again, tolerances this side. I already put some glue in it and it still wants to fall off. So, and there's nothing different from the other side. So it's all a matter of something went wrong with printing and all the kind of shit. And this is really annoying me because the other side is like rock solid. It's just making me look like an idiot. But it is what it is. I had some problems with the printer when I was printing things. Now and then you get some surprise, but I'll definitely add some extra glue to hold things in place a bit better. Not glue them in place, but if you add some glue and let it dry, then it gives you a better grip. So here we have, come on mate, Well, that was unexpected. Right, easy fix. It's really difficult to do this with a camera in your face and having to angle your strength. But here we are. We got bloody carry in robot mode, pointing his gun, and yeah. I really hate this. I really hate this hobby sometimes, because this was all working fine yesterday when I was doing it off the camera to prepare for this, and now it's been such a twat. Right, we got it standing. Maybe it doesn't want to point the gun forward then, and then the arm falls off. I really am clumsy as shit already. The camera is just making it way worse. So, you know what? Don't want to get the arm on. Don't have it. Don't have it. I really get pissed. Stay there for a minute. Just a minute. Stay. No. Never mind. That's a robot mode for me because my copy is a twat. One more chance. Stay. There we go. Carry with the guns. Let's move on. Right. So let's get rid of everything. Separate all the parts. And we will go into vehicle modes. Like for the legs, we will see it in a minute. We're just gonna get rid of the guns with the legs, because they're becoming the cannons for the yes. I think these were supposed to be the other way around. Maybe that's why. Yeah, I had left and right the wrong way around. That's why they were not staying there, maybe. No, I was right. Yeah, never mind. I need to work on that. Right, I think the glue went further down into the thing than it should have now. And that's what's causing problems. So it's bouncing back instead of holding it. Let me see if I can show you that the arm works. But in the meanwhile, I'll show you problems that you might have with your copy as well. So it might be a good thing that this is happening to me. Let's put a positive spin on this nonsense. I might need to just snip it off then. So yeah, the arm was getting pushed back by the glue. So maybe I need to put glue on this part instead, so that it's a bit more reliable. But even then, like, it's already holding it, so maybe I don't. Right, so stress apart, we split the body into parts so that we can go into the vehicle mode. So we can bring this guy back to being MicroMaster mode as well, and we're gonna show him in the various vehicles. For the shuttle, it's kind of easy because all you have to do is open this up, flip the front of the shuttle out like that, and you can see that this is gonna move forward as well, and then you close the bonnet. So, you know, if you want, you can also pretend that somebody is repairing the engine for this thing. As for the arms, all you have to do is to transform back this into the mode where we're gonna use for the head. That's why we're gonna probably return to the head mode. And you want this wing up, and then, you know, this is gonna be inwards. So maybe I need to zoom out a little bit because this is getting too close to the camera. So you insert the arm like that, and then again, it should hold the position without problems. Now that I fixed the issue with that bit. So same as the first, we're gonna move this out, move this out, drag this in, drag this in all the way, squeeze this down if the wing doesn't stay in place correctly, because it just means that there is not enough friction from these parts. And then we attach it to the main body. Yeah, I'll need to do something about that. But that's the shuttle done. And then the way I like to have the micromaster in there, I like to put him in like a kneeling position, like that. And then you can have him sit like that. And yeah, the front is not gonna stay there. If maybe I could have added something to, but that's the shutter mode in all of its glory. So while we work on the tank, that can sit there. For the tank mode, I hope this is gonna go well, because again, yesterday for the first photos it was fine. We need to flip out all the panels, including the one for the hill, and you want the foot to be collapsed in, so check your filament if it pop out like mine, and you want to put this notch against that so that it sits flush and tries not to move too much. So that's one side done. Then the other side is the same, but you need to be aware that these hills are not symmetrical. One has a hole and the other one has a notch. So they're gonna peg into each other once we have everything situated. So again, you want this to form a cohesive front, and then we peg together these panels with their notches, and we peg everything together. Now to give it more solidity, you want to take the waist and peg it into the 5mm holes, and that should give your tank a nice and solid platform. For the cannons, it's easy. You turn the hips a little bit to the position you desire. The cannons have 5mm holes at the back, and then again you just peg them in. So before we mount them, again, you can put your micromaster in whatever position you like, but you know, depending on the size of the micromaster or the backpack that they have, they might be able to sit or to kneel, but I like mine like that. So there's tank mode for carry, with little carry driving it. And like I said, if you prefer a sitting position, you can do that, but there's nothing to sit on, so maybe you lean it against the back. Up to you. It's your toy, do what you want. For the combined shuttle in tank mode, you just remove the cannons and you can insert them into the holes here, because we don't really need the cannons. Or if it's easier, you can get rid of this first and just push them in there so they don't go around anywhere. Put everything back together. Nice and solid. There we go. And before we go on, I'm gonna show you, we got 2 ports on the back of the shuttle. So it might be easier that you just connect the legs, well, the hips or the cannon turrets back in there. And it's kind of tight sometimes. Obviously you want this at the bottom, so this need to look forward and the hole down there. So you want to did I do it? Yeah, it's the wrong way around, that's why. You want it this way so that it doesn't push against the shuttle. There we go. So now that we got that done, we can move the wings down and plonk the shuttle back into place. And then, like I said before, these 2 holes are going to be to connect to carry. Now we make sure the shuttle looks like a proper shuttle, as it should be. Make sure the tank looks like it should look. Fold the wings down, and that is to replicate the look of the combined shuttle and tank mode from the prototype. And again, you can ride it and then ride Carrie's box tank mode into the sunset with this ridiculous thing. Again, this arm needs some attention, but it's not supposed to flop if it's got enough friction. And that's it. This is Carrie's head back into combined vehicle mode. Now we said we were going to go back to head mode, so we're going to bring back the headmaster into also head mode. The arm, again, I managed to ruin the what do you call it? I'm losing the word. I'm going mental. Ball joint. That ball joint is crap on that headmaster. So we're gonna take everything apart. Take everything apart. The cannons will need to go into carry as cable in head mode, so we can put them aside. We're not gonna put the light box back in, but if you needed to, you want to make sure that, let's say, the skeleton face is going to match, you know, the mouth and the eyes. So effectively, you have that at the bottom, and it goes in like that into the seat. I also didn't glue it all the way, just because I want to make it easier if I had to replace the batteries. And also, again, you want to make sure that the buttons on the LED touch this panel here. Otherwise, when you push the button, it's not gonna work. It's sensible enough that you can turn on just one side as well, but it's just one button, so you can do both at the same time. So put that aside, put the cannons aside, prepare the legs. So for head mode, we're gonna need this folded in all the way, but in theory, you could leave this folded halfway, because this will go into the whole, let's say, the driver's seat. Okay, now these pegs will peg on top of this, so you want to fold away the front of the shuttle and leave it like that, so the heels will reach over this panel to peg into that. So obviously we want to turn the Autobot logo upside down again. Make sure that this is situated correctly. If it doesn't look right to you, push the face open, and that's a good start. We're gonna add this, and as you can see, there are notches into the waist so that there is only one way for this to go, and that's, you know, the only way that you need it. Next, we're gonna add the waist piece, and this needs to face up like that, the same way we had for the shutter mode. Or does it? No, it's the other way around. It's the other way around, sorry. So you want the grid to look backward, you want the bottom crotch to look backward as well, and you want things to be nice and flush so the head can, you know, be free to turn. Okay, before we go with the rest of the legs, we're gonna take the arm, and you want to bend the elbow 90 degrees like that. And then, as you remember, this was flipped all the way around. So this is the right ear. Now, the reason why you want the hips in place first is because you want to situate and make sure the, let's call it the ear piece, is in place and holds things nicely like that. Second arm, same as the first, bend 90, turn it all the way around, and we got the hole and the peg. And we're gonna, sometimes it's easier to go into the waist first and then to lift the arm up to the peg hole. Sometimes it's easier to do the other way around, like that. Okay, so now that we got the head all prepared, all is left is the legs. Now, before you mount the legs in place, you might want to take the fins that we removed and peg them together like this, because it's much easier to do now and then to put this on as a whole. So obviously legs go onto the hips, and as you can see, the heels are trying to reach already around. Now I'm gonna try and show it to you as best as I can, but all you have to do is to take that peg into the hole, and kind of everything holds together. It's, you know, it's not the most solid maybe, but it's fairly well holding together. And, you know, once you learn where things move and where it needs to hold, it's much easier to handle. But, you know, it's holding. So there we go. Final touch. The head on, and turn it around, and I can go back into the main body. And that's all for the head transformations. If you decide to put in the light box later, you can always just, you know, take the legs off, put this back in the right direction, and then even to turn on the button you will need to do this, you know, take the legs off, switch the buttons, and then, you know, put back together things that fall apart, like in my case, back into where they need to be, and that's it. So that is the light box back into place. If I squeeze that together, I can easier add my legs back in. Oh, if the light box goes in, obviously you cannot leave the panels like that, but you can kind of squeeze them out of the way, like in tank mode, like that. Oh, in my case, one is better than the other, bending backwards, so I'm gonna use that. So now that the panels are out of the way, this can go flush to the head again and peg into place, and that's the head with the light box in. Kind of looks like a head after all, so I think I've done a decent job of turning things into multiple modes and robots and headmasters and all that kind of stuff. Definitely better than some headmasters out there, help modes. So yeah, there we have Captain Carrie's hand with the light box. So the main part that we need to keep in mind is there is some parts forming, and that means we need to take this apart a little bit first. So I'm gonna take this off temporarily just because they keep falling off if you're not paying attention and you want to break things. Then we're gonna take this off, making sure that we don't break anything again. One and two. Easy peasy. We can also start removing the forearm armature that will go and form the. Oh, I managed to shift down this. That will form the lid or the top of our cutter box, and second here. Good one. Some are more stubborn than others into coming off, which is a good thing when you want things not to fall, but it's not helpful to me in this situation. I need to get something, or maybe I can just turn it a little bit so I can actually, there we go. So we got the other one out, and then at the back we want to remove the other two turrets, 1 and 2, because they're gonna go in another place. Now I would start by, I don't know if you can see on camera, but I would start, well, let's make this lower then. Yeah, let's turn this around so you can see what I'm doing. So I think the first thing that you want to do is to flip up these panels here so they're tucked away and we can forget about them because we don't need them in that place for any reason. We can leave the skirts up as well, and we want to go, move this away. I want to pretty much go and lie it down and then flip this up so that it's like sitting, right? Now, before we go on with anything else, we can see these are flopping down. We can remove this panels from here. I should actually chop that off because, yeah, it's not gonna make me transform it. I used the fact that was too long for my coffee. So we're gonna remove the other one from the other side. So as you can see, we are now this guy in a sit position, but we need them to bend forward. So there is now this tab here. Can we focus? Yeah. This tab here, we need to open this up. I have very little nails and I have nothing here to help me because I just tidied up the studio. Here we go. So that tab opens and this allows the figure to bend forward. So maybe this is a good time to turn the face around so that everything is flush to the ground. And then we want to bring this backwards and tilt it forward. And this, so I think we're going into the box mode first at this point, because what we have here is pretty much the tank mode as well. Let me think. Now we can do it. What am I thinking? Right, let's do the box mode first, okay? So once you go to this point, we can look at the arms, okay? So the arms, we're gonna have to bring back the armature, and this is gonna go mounting on the arm like this. So what we need now is for this to transform. So we turn this, and as you can see, there's holes there, and then my thumb falls off, but what we need is to open the hand. The thumb will go flush to the palm, and then we're gonna fold this up like this and like this, and then you probably want the fingers, so you want the first two joints to be straight and the tip in. So now I can go ahead, no, actually, okay, my mistake. I need this joint to turn, so we need these holes. No, we need these holes. Okay, so we got all the ports, they're open from that stuff aligned like that, because now what we can do is we can plug this in, and that helps holding stuff, and then this holds the hand in place and tucked away. So now that we got this done, we can pull the shoulder out. Can you actually see anything I'm doing? This was getting a bit too low. you want to pull the shoulder out like that, flip it around, align everything on the top, push this in, and then eventually things will all align to form the lid. It's very, very fiddly because it's not sliding in. There we go. So another way would be to open this up and then attach this at this angle, because that makes it easier to align everything in one direction. There we go. And then we can close this down. And then there will be 2 tabs that go into tabs here, and these tabs back into where it needs to be. So we're done the first one, we're gonna do the second one. Should be easier the second time around. So like I said, before we close this, we can straighten the arm, turn this around so that it's aligned like this. We can open the arm, flip thumb down, flip this up, bend the first joint only up like that. Then we can take the armature. Where did it go? Here. Close that. Close this and push it in. Yeah. And then this one here. So again, make sure that the hand is nice and flush. Then pull out the shoulder, flip it up, tilt it, connect everything. Let me turn it because I cannot see what I'm doing. One, two, and three. Here we go. So we can make sure that these tabs tab into the legs, so it stops moving. Or at least we can try. And I'm still debating between the 2 modes here. Let's go base mode first, since this is already open. Okay, so that's for the base. We can leave that up for a minute. So for base mode, we want this open. Let me check the camera. One is open. This actually needs to come back down again. So now that these are open, they can flip out. And we got the platforms here. So these are out. And this is supposed to disconnect. You're supposed to flip this out. They can disconnect like that. Okay. So yeah, we can reconnect this. We want to flip this 90 degrees down in the way that it would have been if the figure was standing. So that's a bit. You can use the ratchet joints, but eventually, this just leads to there is one step that I missed out, which was transforming the knees. I'll show you later. I think this is longer than it should be. So we now got this separate from the rest. And it's, yeah, the knees are in the way. Or mine is broken actually. That's lovely. I had some trouble gluing my knee together. So my copy is a bit compromised from that point of view. So I can turn the knee 90 degrees and then push this through. And that's how it should have been in the first place. Now that the knees are collapsed, I can actually align the base as it should be. There's there, and then we'll need some space to showcase the front. These guys can fall down and they're supposed to like provide a little bit of stability there. And the front here, there is, why is it not going flush? Oh, because it didn't connect properly. There we go. So, yeah. It's a bit of a clunky mess because of how hard it is to move the ratchet joints. Eventually you get to this, okay? So now we got the staircase up for this side. We got these platforms for oh, this side here, yes. Then we have this one here. This way. Here we go. And then we open up this side. Oh. And that situates there. We open up the other side. That sits there. Then we got covers for the hands. And we got the tabs and they go on that slot there. If I manage to align it this distance. No. Don't even know if, yeah, there. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? Let me zoom in a little bit on this part. So now we got the other side is the same. We got the tab and we're gonna slot it in. Just make sure that everything is tabbed in right. And this comes up here. We got little repair bay arms that come up from the chest like this. And well, these are gonna go at the back here. You're not gonna see, but there are holes for them as well. I'm not gonna do all of them, but you know, they're just gonna see it there. Well, there you go. And that's it. This is the base mode. So now we got, I don't know, some micromasters that can leave it, store around, get fixed. There's a turret on the top here that you can unfold like this, and you can put somebody on, and I don't know, you can have carry, and this is carry in rubber mode from caching carry. Which is a 9 feet. There we go. Then we got the two vehicles from Captain Carry. I don't know, just, you know, I'm gonna remove the phone from the thing so that I was saying I can give you the overview of the base mode. So again, we got ramps, we got platforms, and this support standard. This is like a, was it hertz rise or whatever, so you can just plug them in, connect, play with the other figures that you have and stuff like that. That's actually opposite now. Interesting. I might need to fix that, but that's no problem. We got, yeah, other versions of the thing, so you can 3D print more of the roads and whatever to make a bigger thing. But all things considered, I tried to capture what was the prototype base mode. It doesn't have as much window to the back there, but I think that I managed to add some interesting platforms for MicroMaster to be on, like microcomputers, and the turret over there is still there. You still have the repair bay, you got roads and panels, and yeah, I'm kind of happy with how it came out. And yeah, there is parts forming, but at the size of the figure, with everything needing to become what is a duocon headmaster with 3 modes, it was not easy to compromise and have everything transform attached to the figure. So overall, I think it came out pretty good. So before I start feeling too proud of myself, let's try and go into the tank mode instead. So finally, for the last leg, we need to turn this into the box mode, which is not gonna be too difficult now. But we better close off all the things that we need to close off. We're gonna need these guys elsewhere, so we can take them off like that. Make sure that they're not broken. And we need to, well, this is gonna flip up in a minute, but we need to close these guys up. And we can actually leave the turrets on the side as well. We can remove these guys and bring them back in the middle here like that. If there are other pieces like for the weapon, we can probably put them in there as well. Although if you printed a weapon with a transparent piece, you might find that it doesn't fit in there. So up to you. And we want to flip this up because we need to kind of lock things in place so they stop moving. Come on, yeah. So we can flip that over, and we want this to go there, so we need to do what we were doing earlier. If it's easier to remove it temporarily, we can then flip this over, bum bum bum. Can start moving this back. You're not gonna say it like that. Move this back, and this flips 90 degrees, and we can finish turning this over. Plug it in. We want to remove this out a little bit. Plug the sides in. It stops moving. There we go. So now that we got that situated, we can fold this up and close this down. So again, you've got 2 ratchets to fight against, but eventually you will have everything in place. So these guys can go in their place. Oh, by the way, this have a final piece of the road for the front platforms as well, so that's where they're useful. And one goes like that, 2 goes like that, and they're just gonna sit at the back here. I'm gonna turn it a little bit, and what we want to happen is we want that to clip in place and these tabs to go in the right place as well. So what is it stopping us? Is it this? There. Why is it so hard? That's something not quite right. That, yeah. let's leave it down because it's making more problems than it's solving. That's down. The other side. You also push it down. No way. It's like it's not tilted right. This are not all the way in, are they? No, they're not. Let's see if I manage to push them in all the way. There we go. Well, close enough. It used to close perfectly, but now it's been a bastard, and it's all about being able to align things properly, I guess. So another trick that we missed was there's this bit here that you can flip out, and that will kinda help keep the feet together. So we got the back done. That should click in place and connect. You can leave that up or down, it's up to you. These guys can flop around a little bit. We want to open this to put the handle on. Now we bring in the weapon. So the weapon is also parts forming. I'm gonna try and show you. So we got all the parts here that form the weapon. They are coming apart. They just, yeah, untab and slide. So for the handle, let's start from here. You want to leave it a little bit far off so that when you push it through, you got leeway to go around, like that, and push it together. And that should be, strong enough to not break anything. So now that you connected this, you can put this back in place, and then lovely. That opened up. And these two guys go on the top. There is some obvious places to leave them. Shouldn't be a problem either. And you can decide how they're gonna rest in there. Like I said, there's a couple of parts that are superfluous in a way. Maybe we can flip this back, and then at the front, to complete the look, we're gonna have these two panels fit in there. You can see there is some tabs, so we can also fit them in there so you don't see the joints. Oops. Why is it falling? Is that damaged? It should stay on even if it's only on one sector. We got, well, lovely time, but you can see that the other one is on, so it's just a matter of that one got bent for some reason. Yeah, no. And it's always when I'm recording. You're gonna stay? Never mind. Pretend that it's there. So the last thing that you want to do, well, we could have done it earlier. There is this bits here that you can turn around finally and put in place for the connection to the headmaster, let's call it, of carry. So you want the pegs to be further away from the ground as much as possible. Also, you can see how my feet got printed by the house rat and munched on. Not really a house rat, I'm just pretending. But the final thing is we can open these doors to reveal the turrets at the front. And finally, we should have the final look at Captain Carey's carrier mode, also known as tank mode. And we can, again, you might have this already plugged in, you might have not. Otherwise, it's a good time. Things should actually go more flush than they look here. For some reason, my copy now is fighting me today, and this side is not even flushed down properly. So there you go. Then we got the side turrets on this side. All done. And voila. Captain Carey, carrier mode, all done. And almost staying all together. As usual, when I'm recording, everything that can go wrong will go wrong. So again, this shouldn't be as far. I probably should have transformed the arms a bit more while in robo mode before we came to transformation, so that it wasn't as stiff. But it goes to say to the ratchet joints, they are very sturdy instead, and you shouldn't worry about, you know, losing too much strength through the days. And so for the final part, to combine everything together, we can take the tank, we can put the weapons hiding in the main body, because we don't need them, and then reconnect the two sides like that. Fix tank mode a little bit. So can wait a second, or should we? Let's do it now while it's easier. And connect it to carry like that. Here we go. So the next part is bringing in, and I'll do it without the wings, bringing in Captain Carey's headmaster on the shuttle. We can position him a little bit for transportation, and we can put the hips attached to the shuttle, so that now this works as a connection. But I think I need to turn them actually. Yeah. So that is, you know, the front. No, this is the back of the hips. Yes. So that is connecting and going flush, and that goes on top of the tank like that. And the wings, you want to make sure that you flip the wing down 90 degrees to cover the threads, and my rockets are not gonna stay in place, but as you can see, it's connected, it's doing what it needs to do for now, and voila, this is Carrie's final mode, all connected together. I'll give you the tour a little bit. So again, we got the headmaster with the shuttle. Oh, this needs to fall down. Shuttle, tank, turrets. We can put somebody manning the guns. We can put somebody manning the sides. Oh, it's not standing. Give me a second. Never mind. I'm gonna just show you with the same guy. So you can man the sides, and you know, they can fold up. If you use the trick with the filament, actually forgot to snap that away, but if you bend the filament before it goes in, then it works like a spring a little bit. Then we have turrets at the back here as well to fight people that come from the back, and we can put somebody else there. So yeah, plenty of playability, plenty of space for your micromasters and everything that you want to do with this. So, final words. It's been a very long 2 year to get to this stage of this project. There's been ups and downs, both with the project design and with the 3D printer. I actually upgraded to a Creality K1 a year ago to try and get this printed better, because the other printer would have taken too long to do this. And I still feel that in some places my print is not a fair representation of what the design is, especially with the feet. I've been printed so badly because I was struggling to get things printed with this matte blue. I eventually understood what the problem was and resolved it, so the rest of the figure is printed better. But that's definitely something that I almost wish I chopped off the feet and replace, you know, just that layer with something that looks better. And then there is some wear and tear from PLA that can happen, and that's why we like 3D printing to some degree. I try to design things so that it's easy to replace the, let's say, wear and tear. So if you have a joint that, I don't know, snaps and you need to replace the ratchets, all the ratchets and parts are, you know, easy to replace. I printed mine in PETG, by the way. It was the first time that I printed in PETG. So I had some interesting first times in this project, including printing with transparent plastic, printing PETG, having LED lights. There's the light box for the face. So that was also interesting to find something that could go in the head and fit like that, you know, work. I wish you also added LED inside the sword. Maybe I could have. Yeah, it doesn't go that far, I guess. But you know, it would have been interesting to find out a way to have some LEDs inside the sword as well. Maybe you can do that yourself. It's empty, so there is space for it. So, to some degree, I'm proud of myself for this. I needed some time after this, but I have more projects to come. And thank you for watching. Thank you if you purchased this, or reach out to me if you have any problems. Cheers!